Hello, BookTube. I thought I'd go through a little Friday reads today. Before I did that, though, I wanted to talk about the 2016 BookTubeathon. As you might, if you're watching this channel, you might recall that a little while ago I complained because I had not been invited to it. Several of you wrote to me uh, politely saying several different variations on what mounts to quit your bellyache and your crybaby. Nobody gets invited. So I looked around a little, which I probably should have done before I started complaining, and realized that's true. It's just a thing that you sign up and do. Nobody gets an invitation from Ariel Bissett or anybody else. So I'm definitely going to do it. It starts on Monday. It goes for a week. BookTube has been filled with people doing their TBRs for the BookTubeathon. Because there are 7 challenges. I thought I'd read them for those of you who might not know or need a refresher. Challenge number 1 is read a book with yellow on the cover. Challenge number 2 is read a book only after sunset. Challenge number 3 is read a book you discovered through BookTube. 4 is read a book by one of your favorite authors. 5 is read a book that is older than you. 6 is read and watch a book-to-movie adaptation. And 7 is the challenge itself, to read 7 books. Now, if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you realize that there are problems for me involved in some of those challenges. Mainly the last one, reading 7 books in a week. I've seen all sorts of videos of people saying that they're traveling, or they're full-time students, or they're full-time workers, and they've got guests coming over, and I'm wondering how they're even going to manage that. And I'm wondering why they're signing up for it. I think it's a wonderful sign of optimism. But reading 7 books in a week for me that would be a very bad week for me. so that challenge is non-existent. Read a book that's older than you. I do that all the time. Despite comments from some of you wags that would involve Mesopotamian cuneiform. Don't you worry. I'm remembering all of these things. Watch a book-to-movie adaptation is fascinating. That's a great idea. I will certainly be doing. I'll do all of these, but I will look forward to doing that one. Same thing with reading a book that you learned about through BookTube. That's a genuine challenge for me. Read a book by one of your favorite authors. I reread things all the time, and I do that all the time. Read a book with yellow on the cover. Well, as you can see, it's not an uncommon color. I'm not going to make a TBR 5 days out for... I'm sure that it will happen, but if I have to find one, I will. And read a book only at night. Well, I do most of my reading at night. I mean, I do it a huge chunk of it at night. At midnight every night, I turn into a pumpkin and do nothing but read until dawn most times. So that won't be a problem either. So I'll do my TBR announcement, I guess, on Monday when the BookTubeathon starts, or maybe Sunday. But in the meantime, I wanted to show you my Friday reads, which have nothing to do with BookTubeathon. I picked 5 books. I think I will be reading more than this weekend, but a couple of these are chunkers, so you never know. First one is a reread. It's NK Narayan. You can't really make this out, but this is a collection. What's known rather obnoxiously in BookTube world by the non-existent term a bind-up. This is a collection of 3 of his short novels. What is in here? Swami and Friends, Bachelor of Arts, and his great book, The Vendor of Sweets. He's an author I really like, and I haven't read him in too long. And so I was going through my bookshelves and realized that this was there, and we'll read this weekend. And then this is Bruno Cabanes, August 1914. He wrote it on the anniversary of the beginning of World War I in 2014, but this is its first English translation, and I didn't read it in French, so I will read this weekend. Not a big thing. Next one looks like a fun thing, a lovely thing. I love nature books anyway. This is Rainbow Dust. This is by Peter Marren, and it is 3 Centuries of Butterfly Delight, which, I tell you the truth, I haven't even looked inside this thing yet, so I don't know if this is well, let's find out. Like fluttering shards of stained glass, butterflies possess a unique power to pierce and stir the human soul. Indeed, the ancient Greeks explicitly equated the two in the single word psyche, so that from early times butterflies were not only a form of life, but also an idea. Oh, that's lovely. Profound and deeply personal, written with both wisdom and wit. Slow down there, Seymour. I'll quite literally be the judge of that. Peter Marren's Rainbow Dust explores this idea of butterflies, the why behind the mysterious power of these insects we do not flee, but rather chase. Okay, so it's not an anthology of historical writings about butterflies. Instead, it's a history of mankind's fascination with butterflies. That's wonderful. I'm on board. And then the next two are chunkers. One you've seen on this channel before. It's this gigantic book of science fiction. I'm going to... I do believe I'm going to read the whole thing this weekend. I can't believe I read the whole thing. I was looking at the table of contents, and it is bizarre. This will be one of the more bizarre science fiction anthologies that I have ever read. There are names on here that shouldn't be on here. There are names on here that are obviously panhandling to some sort of multiculturalism and inclusiveness. There are names on here that aren't good. And there are also one or two major names in science fiction that aren't in here, which leads me to believe that the selection committee was preferring a demographic agenda over things that actually belong in a mammoth book of science fiction. But you never know. Maybe there's more to these people than I know. So one way or another, the nicest thing about this, because of that diversity, will be that there's a huge chunk of names in here that I don't know and have never read. So that will be a thrill on its own. And then the last one, another chunker, is A New Life of Guglielmo Marconi, the man who changed the world with radio waves by harnessing them as means of communication. I have never read a Marconi biography. I can't wait to read this. This might actually be first. And there you have it. That's BookTubeathon and Friday Reads for your edification. Feel free to let me know in the comments what you're reading this weekend. And also, let's talk BookTubeathon because it's right around the corner. Alrighty. Thank you, BookTube.